Swamini Brahma Prajnananda. We were, of course, very great. I mean, we were very blessed actually to listen to your video some days back on a fantastic topic, which is how do modern practitioners, what modern Vedanta can learn from Adi Shankara. That was a very, very interesting video. And now today we have a double bonanza. We have you live talking to us about Guru Ashtakam. So I'll give a brief introduction to Swamini Ji. Swamini Ji is a traditional teacher of Advaita Vedanta and is a direct disciple of Pujya Swami Dayananda Saraswati. A trustee of Arsha Vidya Foundation, she has dedicated her life serving the Vedic traditions with the teachings of oneness and dharma. Swamini Ji offers Vedanta courses in Mumbai and online, and she also conducts various retreats. Swamini Ji has a weekly podcast called The River of Wisdom, offering teachings of Vedanta. And for more information on Swamini Ji and her teachings, please visit discoveratma.com. So I won't take more of your time, and I'll ask Swamini Ji to talk about Guru Ashtakam.
Thank you. Very happy to be a part of this wonderful celebration of this festival by Advaita Academy, and my congratulations to the entire team for conceptualizing and executing this very beautifully. So today being Sankashti, I want to invoke the grace of Ganapati, especially for all of us who are on this moksha pursuit, and my prayers that Ganapati takes care of the various obstacles that might be on your path. Om Ganana Antva Ganapati Gum Havamahe Kavin Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvannoti Bisida Sadanam. Om Mahaganapataye Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Guru Ashtakam is a set of 8 verses that revolve around the Guru, written by Adi Shankaracharya. The word Guru has entered colloquial language. So we have tax Guru, counseling Guru, accounts Guru, and even love Guru. But the way in which the Shastra uses the word Guru is a very profound way. Gukara sandhakaro vai rukaras tannivartakaha. The one who removes the darkness which is in the form of ignorance, that person alone is a Guru. One would assume that like Shivashtakam or any stotram, Guru Ashtakam will talk about the glory and praise of the Guru. But interestingly, it draws our attention to discovering the Shishya in oneself. There is no mention of what the Guru should be like, what siddhis the Guru should have, how long the Guru's beard should be, nothing of that sort. So what are then these verses about? The journey that is to be made from being an achiever to a seeker, a mumukshu, moktovichuhu, to a jignasu, the one who wants to know. And so this Guru Ashtakam is highlighting the viveka and the shraddha that is required for studying the Shastra, and is basically saying that all your accomplishments have no meaning without the Guru. For Arjuna, Krishna was a buddy and a brother-in-law. It was only in the battlefield that he discovered the fundamental human problem of sorrow, and he said, Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha Prichami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yachreyasyasyat nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyaste hamshadhimam tvam prapannam. Very important verse and a turning point in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna declares himself to be a Shishya. He is an accomplished warrior. Everyone looks up to him in the land, and he has the humility to understand that he doesn't have a permanent solution to the human problem of sorrow. And so he declares himself to be a Shishya, and he seeks Shreyas, the ultimate good, moksha from Bhagwan Krishna. And like this, across the Shastra, we see that everyone had a guru. Bhagwan Rama had a guru in Vasishtha. Bhagwan Krishna had a guru in Sandipani. Of course, Arjuna had Bhagwan Krishna. In Chandogya Upanishad, we see that Indra, who is the king of Devas, and Virochana, king of Asuras, approaches Prajapati and gains knowledge. Then, of course, in Mundaka Upanishad also, Brahmaji, Angiras, Atharvana, and so on, a lineage is shown. So, ironically, in our world, we can trust Amazon to do home delivery, and we trust Gmail with all our details. But there are many amongst us who cannot or do not want to trust a guru. And it's very tragic. And, the reason why this is the problem, most of us do not understand the role of the guru because the Shastra, the nature of the moksha pursuit, and the role of the Shastra is not understood. For all accomplishments in dharma, artha and kama, your will and effort is required. Why? Apraptasya praptihi. What you don't have, you try to gain. But moksha pursuit is such that praptasya praptihi. What you already are, you discover. So much like this fellow who wears lightweight glasses. So he's pushed it on to his head and is looking all over the place. Where are my glasses? I told you, don't touch my glasses. Until someone has to point out to him, hey, you know what? The glasses were always with you. So where does the Shastra come in? Since moksha is about self-discovery, that you are the limitless, how to know? For any knowledge, we need a means of knowledge, a pramana. That pramana, and note this, has to come from outside. I, as an individual, wanting to know the truth, cannot operate the pramana. No, I will read books, I will watch YouTube videos and so on. Sorry, it will not help. It will help from the standpoint of it giving you apatata jnanam, some general knowledge or familiarity with the terms. But understand this, when I read or listen, my ahankara, my self-concept is operating. And my ahankara means lot of raga dveshas. So I am a very reactive person. I listen to something, I don't want to hear it, I zone out, or I skip pages, or I come back to it later because it's making me uncomfortable. Correct? Or I just get bored. I say, what is all this Brahman stuff? Talk to me about relationships. Tell me how to bring up tell me how to bring up my children. Okay? So, or you might say that, no, tell me how to gain a siddhi. I turn off. Why? There is no surrender to the pramana. So on the other hand, there is no escape. You're sitting in front of a guru. Of course, there also you can zone out. But Shravanam being the main sadhana, I learn to be open and trust such that I listen without any resistance. I drop my will. I am not wishing, willing, wanting the guru to say something because there is surrender and I am open to the pramana. Once the guru decides to give experiential understanding to the alcoholic. So he says, okay, I'm going to demonstrate something. So look at this glass beaker. There are some crawling worms inside. Guru pours alcohol. Then the worms little bit wriggle and then they die. And the guru is hoping that now the shishya has understood. But our shishya is so clever and so subjective. So what does the shishya say? That's exactly why I drink. I don't have any worms in my stomach because all the worms in my stomach die. Okay? So because of the subjectivity of a student, why? Because there is ignorance. So one has to develop the humility to allow your mind to go with the words of the Shastra. For that you have to admit that I cannot do this on my own. For this you have to admit that you need help. And there's nothing wrong with it because from Bhagwan Rama onwards everyone needed help. Because this is that the nature of the knowledge is such. So much of the work that the Shishya has to do is to drop the skepticism and cynicism. Of course, please retain your buddhi. We don't want blind believers. But someone who has an open heart, a warm heart, a heart that has resolved core issues, a heart that has discovered love. This is what Antakarna Shuddhi is about. You know, in the tradition, we recognize that 3 things are required for the moksha pursuit. Guru Kripa, Ishvara Kripa and Atma Kripa. So blessings of all 3 are required. Ishvara Kripa is there, you got a Guru. Atma Kripa is there, you bless yourself, you have learnt the nature of the moksha pursuit, and little by little you start to have working trust. With Guru Kripa, you know the truth. I have seen this in my own life, in my Guru's life, and so on. Another scenario, Guru Kripa is there, but Atma Kripa is not there. The person will resist the Guru. In today's world, no one can say that you cannot find a Guru because they are all over the place. But if you are saying that, what you are really saying, and I am being very blunt about this, is that the Guru does not fit into your idea of perfection. The Guru does not fit into your idea of raga and dvesha, your craving or your aversion towards certain things. And all of that is anyway born of avidya. So, in the verses of the Guru Ashtakam, which we will see, Atma Kripa is there, Ishvara Kripa is there, but Guru Kripa is not there. And so there is a refrain, the second line, which is there in each of the 8 shlokas. Guru Rangri Padme Manaschena Lagnam Tatakkim 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 Tatakkim. 4 times repeated, okay? So, Guru Rangri Padme Manaha Chena Lagnam. The lotus feet of your Guru. If your mind or heart is not centered, then what then? Tatakkim, what then? Or what is the use? So repeated 4 times. Generally, feet are considered impure, but not the Guru's feet. Because the feet are the foundation of the Guru, and here they are likened to a lotus. So the beauty of a lotus is it's in the waters, but it's untouched in many ways. The Guru also, who is in the world but is untouched by the world. And the Guru is a Guru because of the Sampradaya, because of the Shastra. So one thing we want to understand is in contemporary context, there are 4 contexts within which we can or we are learning Vedanta. The first context is you're studying in a Gurukulam, you're going through the entire teaching tradition. So full time, all the building blocks of the Sampradaya are there. Second context is learning in cities and towns or across online platforms where there are systematic classes. The third context is the teaching that happens in departments of philosophy and Sanskrit in colleges and universities. And the fourth are teachings that are made available through books and YouTube videos. Now, in the third and the fourth context, where teachings are happening in colleges or teachings are happening through YouTube videos which are random and books, the qualifications of an adhikari that is systematically to be taught and assimilated and practiced, that is missing. Well, another thing that is missing is the use of a pramana as a means of knowledge. Because for the use of a pramana, the Guru has to have a personal relation with you, and that is not available when you're listening to a random video. Then further, the teaching methodology is such is Adhyaropa Apavada. So very systematically there is a build-up for you to see that all that you took to be real actually is not absolutely real. So that Adhyaropa has to be very clear. All that one has superimposed on oneself and the world and even Bhagwan has to be very clear. And the negation, the Apavada, is also very, very systematic. So if you're listening randomly to different YouTube videos or even reading books, first of all, pramana is not being operated on you. You're not willing to drop your will. And secondly, the systematic unfolding that is required is not happening. So what all of us need is to be in touch with some Guru who can clarify your doubts, with whom you can check your understanding, and who can also prescribe appropriate sadhanas for you. Because understand this, one has to have the humility to see that one is subjective and one cannot figure this out. So now we are ready to glide into Guru Ashtakam. Shariram surupam tato va kalatram yashascharu chitram dhanam meru tulyam gurorangri padme manaschena lagnam tatakim 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 kalatram dhanam putra pautradi sarvam graham bandhava sarvametadhijatam gurorangri padme manaschena lagnam tatakim 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 tatakim. So first two shlokas, very simple Sanskrit, that even if you have a beautiful body, surupam shariram, and you could have a charu kalatram also, very beautiful part, and tremendous amount of wealth, meru tulyam, okay? Still, if your mind is not surrendered to the Guru, then what is the use of all these accomplishments? Further, even if you have a wife, kalatram, you have wealth, dhanam, you have putra pautradi, so children, grandchildren, it's a wonderful hasta khelta parivar. Sarvam graham, also palatial mansion and bandhava, relatives whom you enjoy being with. All this you have. Yet you have not understood the limitations of dharma, artha and kama. Because the question is, having all these pursuits, which are all very valid pursuits, does it take away the wanting person, the one who sees himself as inadequate, the one who suffers from incompleteness? Because we know that only the insecure need security and no security is secure enough. So, Grihastha is supposed to bless you with a lot of learning and your ability to contribute significantly to your family, to society. So, despite all this, if you are not able to have the humility to see that you need a Guru, your mind needs to be surrendered to the feet of a Guru, then what is the point? Even the Chandogya Upanishad makes a very bold statement. He says, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. The one who has an Acharya will know the truth. So here there is no point that is mentioned, oh, you have to prepare yourself, you have to be Adhikari, etc. No. That you have an Acharya, the Acharya will take care of even your Adhikaritvam and take you all the way to the discovery of yourself. We have a wonderful role model in Shaunaka, who is a Mahashalaha, very famous householder, or the one who has lot of Yajnashalas, so extremely rich, and even he has the humility to go to Angiras. We see that in Mundaka Upanishad. Shadangadi Vedo Mukhe Shastra Vidya Kavitvadi Gadyam Supadyam Karoti Gurorangri Padme Manaschena Lagnam Tatakim 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 Tatakim. So one may have expertise in all the Vedangas, the ancillary disciplines of knowledge that are important to understand the Veda. Shiksha, phonetics, Kalpa, rituals, Vyakaranam, grammar, Niruktam, etymology, Chandas, prosody and Jyotisham, astrology. The Shastra Vidya Mukhi, the Shastra is on your lips, and you may also be able to compose Gadyam and Supadyam, prose, poetry, music, wonderful, Kavitva is also there. But your Karta identity, the identity of being a doer, is so strong that you are not willing to inquire into the absolute reality that you really are. Okay? So this one trend I see where Sanskrit is promoted, and the motivation that is presented is, if you can learn Sanskrit, you can learn the Shastra independently. This is a dangerous trend, because Shankara so clearly he says in his Bhashya, Shastrajñopi, even if you are a Shastrajñaha, Swatantrena Anveshanam na kuryat. Do not do this inquiry on your own. So we have to honor the words of Shankara and see why he is saying this. Videsheshu manyah swadesheshu dhanyah sadachara vritteshu matto na chanyah. I'm continuing with shloka 5. Shama mandale bhupa bhupala vrindai sada sevitam yasya padara vindam gurorangri padme manaschena laknam tatakim 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 tatakim. So this person has got honorary doctorates. So much mana is there from Videsha, all foreign lands, and in his own land is so acclaimed. And also thinks that mattaha na anyaha sadachara vrittaha. So like me, there is no one who is wonderful in his behavior and following dharma and so on. Yet, all these awards are there, but the identity of bhokta, experiencer, is very strong. This person has identified himself by all his experiences. So if you are willing to expose yourself to the Shastra, if you are willing to inquire into your real identity, then there needs to be some surrender. And only in movies we see surrender. Oh, surrender, okay, hands up, you surrender. But here, that trust that comes from living life, that trust that my Guru is a sampradaya with, she comes from a lineage, that you trust the tradition, that the tradition will take care of all the teachers. She has been through the system. You trust the Shastra, you trust the Guru. Now this trust never comes on the first day, but what you have is working trust. Just like you enroll for a course in Python, and then little by little your trust grows. So if you have doubts, of course you can approach the Guru, because we don't have any blind followers. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very clearly says that vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. How to do seva to the Guru? Please do some seva, of course, in terms of doing whatever is required to be done, and also ask questions to understand. The same Gita says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. If you have Shraddha, jnanam, you will gain. Then in Shloka 5, what we saw, continuing in the same vein, that the person across the Bhumandala, across the earth, all heads of state, host of emperors, rulers, they have so much respect for you, and even your lotus feet are served. Yet, if you have not surrendered, what is the point? Then continuing with 6. Yasho me gatam dikshudana pratapat jagat vastu sarvam kareyat prasadat. Continuing 7. Na bhoge na yoge na vavaji rajau na kanta mukhe naiva vitteshu chittam gurorangri padme manaschena laknam tatakim 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 tatakim. So your yashaha, Gatam Dikshu, has travelled in all possible directions. How come? Because of your dana, your philanthropy, and also your pratapa, your prowess. And all these things you have received as prasada. Then in Shloka 7, he says that, okay, you have seen the limitations of all your pursuits, and it's possible that your mind has turned away from bhoga. So, na bhoge, na yoge. So either you are a bhogi or a yogi. Either you are externally focused or internally focused, right? But you're still looking for an experience. Well, you have seen the limitations of an experience, and your mind has turned away from that. It has also turned away from horses, Vaji and Raja of the entire kingdom. Basically, the whole wealth. With Teshu Chittam Naha, your mind is not focused on that. You have lot of Vairagya. But what is the point of that Vairagya? Because that freedom, that objectivity, if it is not able to allow you to surrender to the feet of a guru, then no point. Okay? So the identity still may be, I'm a Tyagi. The Ahankara is sitting there very tightly. So people ask me, you had such a successful career, you gave it up. And honestly, I just say it dropped away. I didn't give it up because it was not mine. So if Ahankara, your self-concept, is understood as the Atma, then you're home. If it continues to be the limited Ahankara who has identities of Karta, Bhokta, doer, experiencer, even renouncer, okay, I have renounced, Ahankara is still very much there, then surrender is not possible. Or if that much you have understood, if you were to surrender to the feet of a guru, then it's likely that your journey of Ahankara to Atma will be complete. Then the last shloka. Aranyena vasvasya gehena karye na dehe manovartate me tvanarkhe gururangri padme manaschena laknam tatakim 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 tatakim. Then Phalashruti. Gururashtakam yav pathet punya dehi yatir bhupatir brahmachari chagehi labhedvanchitartham padam brahma samyam gururoktavakye manoyasya laknam. Gururoktavakye manoyasya laknam. So the 8th shloka, that the mind may have lost interest in Aranya. You no longer want to go to the forest. Earlier you had these romantic ideas. In your own house, vasya gehe, no more interest. Then na karye na dehe manovartate. So this, in your own achievements, in your accomplishments, no more focused. And you're focused only on moksha. And you are determined you will get moksha in this lifetime. But if you're planning to do it alone and your mind is not centered to a guru, on the lotus feet of the guru, then what is the point? In the Mundaka Upanishad, very beautiful verse is there. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmanaha nirveda mayat nasti kritakritena savijnanatham sa gurumeva bhigachet shrotriyam brahmanishtam. Samit Pani, of course. So having examined all your experiences, Pariksha lokan, if indeed you have the vairagya, what do you do with that vairagya? You know what is krita and what is akrita. You know what is achievable by effort. You also know what is to be discovered. Then what is to be done after that? Savijnanartham. For the sake of Vijnana, Gurum eva abhigachet. Go straight to the Guru. This shloka, this mantra, does not say read a book, watch a YouTube video, or go on yatra, do mantra japa, do siddhi yoga, do kundalini, nothing. It just says go straight to a guru. What kind of a guru? The one who stands in a lineage, Shrotriyam, who understands the teaching methodology and so on, who has been through the process, and the one who abides in the truth. So, Samit Pani, also please take Samit Pani. Samit Pani, of course, is firewood, but here the meaning is that you're willing to do whatever it takes because this pursuit is important to you. So we see that the words of the Upanishad, the Bhagavad Gita, the Prakarana Granthas are resounding with the need for a guru and also the acknowledgement and the humility that is required for a person to say, I don't know this and I can't do this on my own and I need your help and I am willing to trust. I am willing to be open. The Falashruti is very beautiful. So this Guru Rashtakam, Yav Pathe, the one who reads, studies, recites, understands, with this Punya Dehi, you are this, anyway you are a sacred person, sacred being. You could be a yati, a sannyasi, you could be a householder, you could be a brahmachari, you could be a gehi, whatever it is. Labhet vanchitartham, you will definitely gain Brahma Samyam. And the Guru Rangri Padme is now replaced, or it has glided into Guru Rukta Vakya, the Vakya that has been said by the Guru. If your mind is centered on that, Manoyasya Lagnam, then definitely you will gain Brahman. So what Shankara is saying, he's echoing what has been said across the Upanishads and the Gita and so much of the rest of the Shastra. And it's not a bold claim. All of us who've had gurus love and revel in the fact that we have had a guru, because we know what the process has been like. And so this is the blessing of Adi Shankaracharya. So I want for us to conclude with a very quick meditation. Okay? So we sit comfortably. Our back is straight. And we see that our body is relaxed. I see that I am in Kashi. I'm sitting on the banks of the Ganga, on the steps. Dusk is approaching, and there is golden light that is shimmering on the Ganga. The chirping of the birds is slowing down, and I'm watching the waters, thinking about Adi Shankaracharya. And in a distance, I see someone who is clad in ochre robes, who looks at me, and I recognize him as indeed Jagat Guru Adi Shankaracharya. I can't believe it. I look around to see if anyone has noticed what I have noticed, that people are going about doing what they are doing. And Adi Shankaracharya looks at me and asks, what do you need? You were thinking about me, what do you need? And you say something. You say what you need. And he says, Tathastu. May you have what you need. You ask him to bless you. You still can't believe it. And he raises his palm and says, Purna Ashirvadam. You're so overcome by emotion. You do a Sashtang Namaskara. And as you touch his feet and look up, he's not there. What you're touching are the waters of the Ganga. And then you realize that Ganga is there as Jnana Ganga, the flow of knowledge, that is available to you, that is a part of the Sampradaya. And you look around and you say, I'm almost sure I saw you, Shankara. Where are you? And you hear a voice. I am where the teachings are. And all the teachings are with you. They are inbuilt into the Sampradaya, the teaching tradition. I have blessed all the gurus with this knowledge that is indeed theirs. And so this knowledge is ever available to you if you were to surrender, if you were to open your heart, if you were to trust, if you were to find some love for yourself and for the Shastra, then this knowledge will be yours. You can't believe it, that you have received a blessing from none other than Adi Shankaracharya himself. The light continues to shimmer on Ganga, but now there is a contentment in your heart and a spring in your step as you get up to offer your prayers to this Jnana Ganga. So my prayers that whatever obstacles are on our path in this pursuit of moksha, may they all be cleared. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Tat Sat.
And this wonderful session actually, which was awakening all the skeptics and cynics in us to really surrender, without of course raising our hands, but nevertheless surrender to Guru to get this wonderful knowledge. So thank you again